like just this week, as soon as we started going into the crow. Soon as we went into the crow, here come the cold weather. So this is showing you guys the magnitude of the impact that you can have on reality if you consistently do the moon magic, right? It's going to show up like that. This is allocating what I picked up on instantaneously was I said, man, maybe this the 76th time that I've done it, right? Just looking at me or me as the center of all. I said, okay, I done did it 70. This is a confirmation I done did it 76 times because now the crows is imprinting at a level where it's affecting everybody, right? So that made me look at my moon magic on a whole nother level, right? And I attempted to count back how many moon magics it was. You know, I get crazy like that. Let me count back. I couldn't get too far, you know. I lost count somewhere in between there. So what I end up doing is just surmising that I know I've done it at least that many times. If it's going to show up like that. And I know that everybody working on it a lot this week. I know you guys are going through it and focusing and honing in, and then all of a sudden this cold weather mess pop up out of nowhere. You know, all over the state. It's hitting every damn body. You know, it's like, damn. They're trying to exhibit that they have the ability to be godlike, right? They need cameras everywhere. They got to track you and track your data, right? and make you go through all these checkpoints just to keep up with you, right? But they still haven't even kept up with their own self. Right? And haven't addressed their own deficits. You out here calling the kettle black. And as I said, we in the third phase of the moon magic. The crows, they come in a varying of ways, just collectively. What you've been seeing with these weird ass weather patterns, and they dumping snow off on people because they like, man, we'll be John Brown if we don't see no damn snow. They just got to see some snow. They just got to see some cold. You know what I'm saying? They trying to shift. And I told you guys that they froze the water. Because winter wasn't, that shit is artificial. It's not supposed to be no winter months. All of that shit's some new shit since the moon has commandeered this position, right? But anytime someone makes the weather like that, it's due to the fact that there is some form of something that's distorting the ley line and throwing off the biorhythms of the planet. And we're a sea man. You come here as sea man, and when I say that, I'm not just talking in the biological sense of the semen, talking about the letter C in the frequency of 432, which is middle C, right? Which is Om, right? So you come here as a sea man. You got to get on the frequency of 432 in order to exist in the physical dimension. Follow that? Once you've done so and you made that celestial contract, etherically binds start to be made with you in order for you to become flesh. And once you become that flesh, you got a social engineering program put up. I call it a terror matrix that's there to keep you binded and bound to its beck and will, and for you to focus and concentrate on what it's providing for you, all the way up to a God and the devil. They go above and beyond to attempt to accommodate you for everything you need in your material existence. And no one never gave them that particular station to do that, right? Or that occupation. No one asks you to go on what gives you the divine right to even move forward like that. And if so, you got to give it to everybody. That everybody doesn't receive the same degree of treatment and it's due to bylaws and stipulations written into their contractual agreements within commerce. Like it's just so much jargon of nothing, right? Just in order for me to live. But the birds don't have that problem. The snakes don't have that problem. The cats and the dogs, to a degree, they don't have that problem, right? They're asked to come and go as they will. They ain't even asked that. They just exist. The plants, the trees, all of these things need to be paid attention to. And you have to look at things on a realistic, you know, baseline. And when you do that, and you start operating from that degree of consciousness, you can't help but to start being discerning about what the Terror Matrix presents to you. They try to show you this in the movie The Matrix, right? Because you connected to the grid, you know, and I showed you guys, I gave several illustrations of the grid. You can look into the PDFs and see that. But all of this is relevant to the crows because these particular crows see that you have unplugged from the socket and you can see what the fuck is going on for real now. Once you do that, it ain't no going back to that shit. But if you do go back to it, you just can't say you haven't been told, you know. Be on whatever you're gonna be on, but you can't say that you haven't been told. And those beings take note of that too. And they deal with you accordingly. You know what I mean? So everything is recorded. I talked about that in another seminar. See, it's the stuff I talk about in seminar, I don't talk about on what's the name, because it opens up long dossiers that do require a section of time of focus and concentration and to take notes on so that you can make a reference back to it at a later time. But there are a litany of orbs that are gathered around you, especially if you burn an ancestor money. Your environment is full of orbs. And the hickers is drawn in, the light frequency of those hickers, you know, that's a different type of light. That's not photonic light, right? This is dealing with black light. It's a whole different degree and a whole different spectrum of light that predates this particular material universe, right? And so you got all these orbs that surround you that's there to record you. They record all your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And those things will be weighed against you, right? They will be weighed against you. All of your words and your actions, your thoughts are absolved, and the mapping of your brain is put on by Tahuti, and he writes out everything, all of your words and your deeds or your actions. He writes them all up, and then a holographic image or perception of your heart is put on this particular scale, and this is a scale that has the ability to pick up the weight of photonic light and subatomic particles and elements that exist in other dimensions, right? This the higher density, if you will. So what happens from there, if your heart is more organic in structure, then it's going to weigh more than the feather. Now, if it's a feather and it weighs more than your heart, it's because you're operating from your spiritual heart. You're operating from who you are spiritually, not who you are physically. When you operate from who you are spiritually, you kind of ahead of the curve of what's going on physically because it's at a much slower vibrational rate, right? It's a much smaller vibrational rate, and the beings on this frequency, they have to do things a day at a time. But the accumulation of time, right, and within a day, or what's received or perceived as a day, is a lot different um, um, in the spiritual universe than it is in the physical universe. So when you're in the spiritual universe, that shit happening real fast, minute for minute, right? Minute for minute is an hour over there. minute for minute. So you got 360 hours, and really it's 300 hours. Excuse me, it's 300 hours to every hour here. So what you didn't do it can accomplish in 1 hour physically equates to 300 hours spiritually. Imagine what you can accomplish in this dimension with 300 hours. And the comparison is gauged based on the height, because you're a lot larger, you're more expanded. Your consciousness isn't restricted by bones, muscles, veins, arteries, nerves, an endocrine system, organs and shit, water. All this stuff is weighing you down, your skeleton. And you are not the body. I keep telling people this. You're not the body and you're not the mind. These are utilities that you utilize in order to interface into this reality. That's not something that you just have an aha moment about. This is something that you have to affirm to yourself. And what we're going to talk about today is affirmations and affirming. That's what merit, the music. You use music in order to affirm the things you want to bring into reality. I know you guys have probably seen, the manifestation music. I think it's AI music. It sounds AI generated, but it's pretty good. You know what I mean? The R&B. Some of you guys posted that stuff a few times, and on the thread or whatever. But you can look it up on YouTube. They got a lot of good manifestation, melodies, if you will. But these things are brought into height from repetition. You do things repetitiously. When you cross that marker of 76, remember I told you guys about 76. At 78, the 78th time that you do it, you operate, you activate and mirror. It's no coincidence the mirror pops up at the time that you say things that many times. And merit is 78. She deals with music, right? So you'll start coming up with a melodic way to say the mantra or the affirmation that you're saying. Once you done said it that many times consistently in a row, or once you done did the activity that many times in a row, you start operating with rhythm, right? And if the rhythm starts to happen, then everything around you starts to flow to that rhythm. So however you feel, that's how the reality gonna feel. That's how everything gonna take off based on how you feel, right? That's dealing with the emotions. And we're conditioned to process things emotionally first before we use our logical centers, right? And as brainology, we got to take a practical approach first, right? Practically understand what's occurring. Know the meaning of the words that people are using, why they're using them, how they're using them, and consistently ask questions. Right? When you consistently ask questions, you will gain a greater understanding. Yes, go ahead, Trenton.
Excuse me. I was gonna say so. My niece is in the background, so just a heads up in case it's a little loud. But I was gonna say, what do you call that? So particularly in the 1089 tech community with the pages that you were talking about to check out on the website, right? You were saying, and I'm just asking because I'm trying to or doing my best to gain clarity with the the like the 76 and like the repetition of doing things continuously. Is that accessible? You said on the website, right?
I don't know what your question is.
Sorry, my bad. So like the repetition of doing things, like particularly like you were saying, like the 76th time is when it starts getting integrated in a rhythm. Um, you said that you're able to access the amount of what do you call that? I'm trying to think of the name particularly, or like the word to describe it. Um, yeah, it'll come back to me, but I'll hop down
The
real quick.
sequential path of mastery.
Yeah, like the sequential. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, the sequential path of mastery. Like for instance, you do something like I forget the amount of numbers it is because I'm getting kind of nervous on the spot. I ain't gonna lie, but yeah. What is it?
It's
Yeah,
1938,
you got it. Okay.
57, 76,
Okay.
95,
Okay.
114,
Okay.
133 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you do it 133 times, you'll master it. Now,
Okay.
along this gauge, what's your question?
That's what the question was. Is what it was called. The sequential.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah. I got you. I
sequential
got you.
path to mastery.
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
I got that. You're welcome. That's pinned to the top of the TikTok page. It's also
Okay.
in the. It's also inside the 1089 manual. Um,
Okay.
that's available on the website, or you could look inside the. It's everywhere, man. Y'all
Okay.
just
That's
you
what I was.
just gotta look it up, look it up. But just
I
pinned
got
to
you.
the
Thank you.
top of TikTok.
That's what I was
All right.
asking. Thank you. My apologies.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all got to go to the page. Go to my page. Like when y'all don't see me, like, damn, where Doc at? Just go watch the videos. I'm telling you, I done left way more than enough. They starting to block my lives. Like I can't upload the live. That's what I was dealing with all day yesterday. That shit distracted. That was a pro. But I had to pay attention to that shit. I'm like, yo, none of my videos is getting uploaded. They're not letting people see them. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm checking. I had a hashtag that was wrong, but I was like, yo, that ain't no reason. Then I looked and they took all my lives away, man. Took all of them shits. I'll be trying to hurry up and upload it before they delete it. They ain't even give me 30 days. So everything I did last week, I was trying to upload and put on YouTube, put on Instagram, put it on TikTok. Yeah, go ahead, Trent.
I just didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to say thank you again, gratitude, for everything that you do. And I was meaning to go to the page, but I just didn't get enough time this week. I've been busy
No,
just
it's
trying to get
okay.
my
You
life in
you
order.
you don't
Yeah.
have to mic in to say all of that, man.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
put your
No, I
feet in
got
some grass, brother.
I got you. I got you. Thank you.
Put that in the thread or something,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah. I just wanted to make that clear real quick, just because it's easier to say it quick. But thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, get grounded. Go put your feet in the grass. Get you some hematites. I got some right here. Some hematite magnets. Yeah, so it's about catching that rhythm, you guys, and getting, the rhythm of life. You got to move with a rhythm, move with a beat, and stay on that alpha wave. That's what generates the alpha wave and takes you out the frequency of beta. And this is why you're in the awakened realm, right? You stay on the alpha resonance long enough, you start picking up, your vibration starts rising to gamma. Gamma is the state of creativity. That's where your imagination begins to accelerate. And at that acceleration rate, what begins to occur is you're going beyond the thresholds of thinking, starting to go into an intuitive range, a clairvoyant range, right? And uh, if you allow that to occur, then what'll happen next is your higher mind will seat itself in your heart, but you have to allow it to happen. Now you got access to your senses. Now it won't stay on that vibration if you're not consistent. If you drop in density and look to exhibit some type of lowly behavior with that type of access, you will shift vibrations real fast, right? So there's a lot of things that need to be a sponge from the being prior to accelerating into the circuitry of your etheric wiring, right? That puts you on a whole nother vibration. You won't have to sleep, eat, or drink anything. You will just be going. I've been known to do that from time to time. I stay up 24 hours, 48 hours. I ain't slept. I ain't ate. Sometimes I ain't even drunk nothing. I just keep going. And I don't even be tired. I just be on it because I'm operating at a higher vibration that takes you into the gamma level. And they show you this with the Incredible Hulk. And they say that he got hit with the gamma rays. And after he got hit with these gamma rays or whatever, um, he turned into this big, strong, indestructible monster called the Hulk. And the more angry he gets, the more heightened, which that's the total polar opposite of what happens when you get when you vibrating on the gamma frequency. When you're on that gamma frequency, that's why they use the G encoded with God and the masonry and geometry and all of that, because it's talking about the gamma, right? Gamma is number 7 in the Greek, right? It's the 7th letter, you know, or it has a numerical value. Every number has a numerical value. That's why we're gonna get into rooms into the abjad of, you know, the Urim and Thummim, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that need to be understood just with everything. Like there's so many layers to it. 9 times 9 is 81. It's that many layers. 9 times 7 is 133. It's that many layers, right? It's that many layers, and I layer everything out and see what people are able to process. So when I give you all out these codes and you're using these codes, use them to your advantage. You should be able to find a code that aligns with the intentions of your moon magic and incorporate it into the cultivation of your seated intentions. This stuff works. If you kind of do it, it kind of works. If you really do it, it really works, right? But you got to have your heart in the right place too, so that you can get that extrasensory perception, range. You can start operating from that grid versus the one that's here in the terror matrix, right? And everything could be okay. This is a very good sign that you guys are seeing the things that have happened as far as the weather and all of that. You think it's a coincidence that it just happened right at the same exact day that we went into the crow? No, that was the first one, and that was along with all the other crows that was coming off from that. There'll be a whole bunch of crows. And I want to say we got one more day of the crow, and then he got to get his ass up out of here. All right. So fret not, stay persevering on your path. And I do take it everybody in here has been doing their moon magic for this month. If you haven't, I don't know what to tell you. It's very difficult for me to hear your grievances with so many remedies and result-based techniques that's given. But if you're not working, if you're not utilizing these modalities effectively, it's, the helping hand is at the end of your arm. So you just gotta be consistent with it, man. You just gotta be consistent. Then you gotta trust. You gotta trust in what you're capable of doing, right? Don't attempt to find fault in what I'm saying, or like, oh man, he didn't tell me this part. He didn't. Nah, you gotta trust what you're capable of doing. That's what it's gonna all come down to. And if you don't trust the process, you don't trust your own process. If you don't trust what you're capable of doing, then it ain't gonna never get done. The whole thing is, better than we are doers, doers. You got thinkers, you got knowers, and then you got doers. This is the doing aspect of things. Anybody can think. We all got the ability to think. We all got the ability to know something. But then, based on what you know, what are you doing with that? Right? You have to do something with it on a more consistent, right? Like I said, when you get up to 78, that's now you on a rhythm. You got a rhythm going. You got some movement taking place, right? That's why they used to beat the drum. Get that blood flowing. You got to get the moving around. That's the one thing that's constant is movement, right? Even if it's just some push-ups, some exercise, right? A brisk walk, right? Jumping jacks. Do something. You got to thwart the energy of yesterday, right? As you affirm that it was a yesterday and a tomorrow and a now. The more that you affirm, you got to project the energy into it. Light some Palo Santo, reset your altar. Something has to take place in order to set the space or the clearing. Remember the clearing phase? That's what's coming up next. But the crows got to get the fuck on. They had a little fun, and then sometimes they don't even pop up during the fourth. They won't pop up during the fourth one. They'll show up on your ass on during the clearing phase. During the harvest, they'll show up on you. You be like, damn, where the hell this shit come from? But yo, that's what it come down to, you guys. And like I said before, let's see, I'm trying to pull it up here. This way I ain't gotta write it on the board. Right? The deities of the moon. How many of you guys have watched The Wiz? Anybody watch The Wiz? I know it's a musical. Somebody was like, I didn't know that was a musical. I don't even be thinking about that, but it is a musical. You know, everybody didn't watch that, right? Yeah, watch The Wiz. Watch The Wiz. You know, take notes. You know, remember the deities of the moon, or Set, Hansu, Tahuti, right? Remember, from the mind to the throat. From the mind to the throat. You got to talk this stuff into materialization. Materialize your thoughts and plans. 719 741 719 48171 719 48171 719 48171 719 48171. All right. Just be saying that all the time while have that running in the background of your consciousness while you're thinking about your intentions, which should be on the frontal lobe of your consciousness, right? Visualize, imagine, see the active vision. Hopefully you guys did your meditation for those 3 days, right? And even if you struggle with the meditation, long as you sat down and did the meditation, see, it's all about doing and taking action. That puts you on the frequency with the constant, right? And remember, 19 times, 38 times, 57 times, 76 times, 95 times, 114 times. Keep testing yourself. You might not even get all the way there. I was telling somebody the other day, hey, let's do that shit 19 times. 19 times is good enough, right? But think about it 19 times every day. Invocate your intentions every day. This helps it grow, right? Them codes help you. You gotta trust. You gotta trust yourself, right? Know that it's going through the gateway. Tahuti open up a gateway for you so that you can see your intentions in the moon. You gotta visualize those intentions being seated. I be saying, when I be saying my stuff, I see a sound wave going up to the moon. And then I ain't even checked the moon's progress yet. I like to catch it naturally. And I'll be like, oh shit, I'm at this phase of the moon. That hasn't happened for me yet. Right? But it's gonna come. Just like this morning when I made my offerings. I dumped my offerings out and I turned and the sun was right over my gate, like right where I was dropping my offerings. All that shit happened in synchronicity, right? And that's because I allowed it to occur. I didn't get in the way. I just got up at a certain time, said, hey man, it's time for me to clear my altar. Let me do this. Everything just came right into alignment. You know, don't be outside looking for the moon like, oh man, where the moon at? What phase? Don't do all that. Just stay honed into what you're doing. And you will fall right into alignment and you will see it when you're supposed to see it, when you need to see it. That's really during the seeing phase. You won't even attempt to do it. You just look out your window and the moon will be pointing, be staring right at your ass. You hear me? So don't go on no damn Scooby-Doo investigation. Stay locked in on those two intentions. You guys should be thinking about your intentions. You should have been thinking about them obsessively at this point. You should have them two intentions locked in. Fuck them crows. Them crows want you to pay more attention to them than the intentions at hand. Pay attention to the intentions. Pay attention to the intention. Pay attention to the intention. You hear me? Pay attention to the intention. That's all you got to do. The internal one and the external one. All right. Anybody get any questions? Any questions out there? Let's get some questions going. Anybody got any questions? I guess not. Yeah, so just make sure you stay constant with these. This is from the last moon magic in the reply section. You could download it if you haven't. You just got to go through the thread, go to the last moon magic, you know, the last Monday. I want to say it's the 19th. It's the 19th, right? The day after the new moon, right? So we put this up the day after the new moon, which started on the 18th. And now we already 7 days in. Here we are 7 days from where we begin that. Materialize your thoughts and your plans, right? That should be the one you stand in the shower every morning. Materialize thoughts and plans. Visualize it. You got to visualize these things. You have to imagine it, right? Take the time out, even if it's 5 minutes, carve out a unit of time for you to just, you know, be ideal to daydream, right? About what you want to happen. Guys, hold on a second. It's a restroom. Oh. Forgot to put that on. Okay, there it go. Here you come. Yeah, so all you got to do, internal, dials in with the imagine, or what we imagine, and the external deals with the experience, right? What we externally acquire in our consciousness could draw from your experiences to assist in the materialization of your seated intention, right? Kansu is going to help you. He's going to assist you. Ya Kansu, ya need to do, ya Kansu. Ya need to do, ya Kansu, 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 ya need to do. Say that name 49 times. 49 times. If you calling on his assistance, it gets accelerated when you do it towards the moon. Same thing with Tahuti and the same thing with Offset. these things work. That's to eradicate the crows that's within us. And then once it's expunged up out of you, that's to expunge the crows that's outside of you, so that you can stay honed in and focus on what you need to be focused on, right? Those are your seated intentions. And put your direction focus there. Everything gonna be okay, right? Just remember the gateways. Remember the gateways of Tahuti, because he sets the gateway. Say, where can I find it? You gotta look through you gotta go through the PDF file level. You gotta go through the database. It's all there. It's all on the whiteboard. But you got the name, Kansu. Yah is pretty much saying, oh, on the tier. Yeah, you got to go through these. What's the name? Is something you need? Yeah. So yeah, just constantly saying, y'all are set. Y'all need to do. Y'all are set. Y'all need to do. Y'all are set. Y'all need to do. Y'all consul. Y'all need to do. Y'all consul. Y'all need to do. Y'all Tahuti. Y'all need to do. Call on them. Call on set when you're using the magic. When you're going through the experience, call on consul. When you want wisdom, when what's happening, call on Tahuti. That's all you got to do. Boy, you know what? You'll be in the seeing phase, right? But that don't mean to stop. Even when it comes to the full moon, when you get to the full moon, that don't mean to stop your practicing. You want to keep things going. You don't be like, oh shit, it's working now. I could stop it. I could go back to doing the shit I was doing already. You follow? Don't do that. If that stuff working for you, you got to keep that shit going. You can't be off and on. You can't be a fence straddler. You got to either be all the way in or all the way the fuck out. Then you don't have to put false expectations on yourself. This fortifies your trust and your ability to stand firm in what it is that you're implicating. And you have to be very consistent. Can't be spotty. You got to want to do it, right? Well, that energy, will acquiesce onto the grid, and you get those type of results. You get those type of results, you're like, damn, why this shit happening this way? It's like, yo, you're pretty much talking that stuff into existence. You keep talking about what you don't want, you bring in more of what you don't want. You keep looking at what's going on with everybody else, and you ain't going to looking at what's going on with yourself. You just emitting more of that. This the law or the realm of reflection. Everything has to reflect back to you, right? And that's what Raynology showed you. So the more that you're integrating the activity into what you're doing on a consistent basis, you can't help but to come out on top. Can't help but to. All you got to do is trust and make it to the end. These are just markers that's put in place that's in alignment with the ecology of the ebb and flow of the shore going out and the shore coming in, right? It's a time when everything got to go out, and it's a time when everything got to come back in. And you just have to get on that on that biorhythm. Like I told y'all, a lot of people do things, they don't do it during the new moon. They do it during, like right now. They start right now. It's like, nah, like I ain't saying things can't happen, but it's like, damn, this shit it's fucked up. I got to start all over again. That's because you're not doing it at the right time. It's when you see your intentions, right? What's going to always be fluff. You're going to just disregard it, right? You don't want to have that going on. You just want to pay attention to these instructions and utilize them accordingly, right? Your subconscious memory too. Remember, your subconscious memory records everything, good, bad, or indifferent. So you might as well tell it the right things that you wanted to hear and be consistent and sure about it when you're doing it. You just keep doing it, keep doing it. It's going to compound over time. As the week that went along, you just said it 133 times. Now everything come out your mouth is sing-songy because you didn't build up to that particular frequency where that deity is present in the activity that's being applied to the reality, right? So stay the course. You got 9 people in here. Hopefully all 9 of y'all been doing the moon magic. We in the 3rd phase. We about to go into the 4th phase, and things gonna accelerate. You know, join us in Atlanta if you can. March the 7th and the 8th. Come join us for the 6th, as we have the prerequisite to the seminar, and I'll go over everything in real time and in person, and show you guys about sunbathing. We'll get all of that shit in together collectively. All right. Get it all in and prepare for the seminar that's coming up. Because it's a lot of information, man. I'm telling you, it's a lot of data. I'm about to upload the what's the name next on the school for you guys. Anubu. I'm working on Anubu right now. Then I got second, and I got more pages than what I'm showing. So yeah, I want to make sure you guys get this stuff down before we go on to the next level. I don't like to go too far ahead and everybody not getting the grasp or the concept of what's taking place here, right? But these are need to know things, right? All right. Anybody, any questions? Straight. All right. All right, y'all ain't got no questions. I'm gonna get my ass on off of here and charge up for TikTok. Go over there and get a TikTok, son. Let my phone, see what my phone charger at. That to me about 10 more percent because I could wear the mic out. Y'all know that. But y'all have no more questions. We're gonna get on off of here. And I see you guys again on TikTok or wherever, you know. But definitely this time next Monday. We coming back to this. All right, see where everybody at. All right. Peace and love.